well in case. So since we were discussing all this, input forms basically means that whenever you're designing for someone, you have to design is the data collection forms, because it's your responsibility, because the system, the computer system that you're developing, it will actually first of all take the input forms as well. Just banks mein hota hai. You have these receipts that you fill in, and there's a special way that you have to fill it in. Okay, usually they say at times that you have to fill in block letters and capital letters. So without computers, before data goes into the computer, an input form has to be designed. And the other reason that input form has to be designed is because of batch processing. क्योंकि यही जो आपके input forms हैं, ये further batch processing के लिए भी use हो सकते हैं. So if you want to design something that will be put in an OMR or in an OCR, it has to be designed respectively so that the software usko pick kare. That is the reason that input form has to be designed by the people who are developing the actual form, which is actually software. So what principles that you need to take when you design a form, the colors, instructions, proper clear instructions. Okay, at each question should have enough space to be answered. Okay, you should use tick boxes. Okay, you should in fact use tick boxes and radio buttons wherever appropriate. Okay, ensure all fonts are consistently used. I mean, don't keep on using different fonts at different places. It's not a circus form. Avoid clustering the form with too much information. Okay, that doesn't look nice. You shouldn't do that. Okay. Ensure font style and size are legible. Legible obviously means that they are readable. They're not very small. You have to make a font for all the ages. For all the people, if they have even some eyesight problem, it should be visible, not really small. Okay. So अब ये form बहुत ज़्यादा clustered है, as you can see over here is, okay. It should not be like that. Okay. So membership form should be like this. Okay. Okay, Shushu, I'm sorry, poorly designed. Explain how the application form in figure 16.6 could be improved. How do you think so? Let me show it to you. So first of all is you have a lot of extra space over here. Okay. Font style ye jo hai, it's not very much readable. It should be in the same font style. Okay. Name ke liye space should have been more. Right? Gender ke liye they should have used is a tick box, radio button. Age ke liye they should have actually given less space for it. No need to give full line for that. Do you have disabilities? Yes, nahi to theek hai. Which of the following home? Ye theek hai. So these were some of the points that could have been improved in this particular form, and this is one of the questions that can be targeted in P3. So screen layouts just like forms design होते हैं बिल्कुल उसी तरह हमें ख्याल रखना होता है. वही पॉइंट्स वहीं यहाँ भी आ जाते हैं. We have to take care of the fonts, okay, that are used in our physical forms जिसे हमने access में बनाया है. Okay, so let's say same things. Then फिर वो बात इधर कर रहे हैं कि about validation rules हम बार-बार कर चुके हैं. That when we make a form, the form has to validation rule. We have done this in even JavaScript. We have the following validation rules applied to application number, telephone, product code. Okay, the most suitable जो लग सकता है वो लगेगा. और एक क्वेश्चन भी आपको आ सकता है कि they give you a form and they'll tell you which presence check is the most suitable to be applied. उसके लिए you have to look at the data. जिस तरह का data होगा उस तरह का validation rule लगेगा, उसके मुताबिक लगेगा. So ये एक generic चीज है. You know what reports are? Reports are basically printed. So this is one kind of the report that they've designed, a very colorful one. Although from my perspective point of view, the report is not very properly designed because the colors are very bright. Have they mentioned something over here? I mean, obviously, it's not only according to me; it's according to the rules. For example, ये जो printout अगर लिया जाएगा, if this is a report, okay, report listing, the text blue के ऊपर नहीं पढ़ा जाएगा. Okay, it's not professional because when you'll take a printout of this, even red and white will not be that much prominent. So the color scheme should be in such a way that it can be printed on a grayscale printer as well. That is what we have to consider. Okay. So, right. So, development testing. Acha. You have actually done the designing part, which means actually you did not develop it, you just designed everything. So, अब आप उसका testing करोगे. Testing में we have different categories. Testing का मतलब ये है कि we need to test the data. We need to test the system. We need to see how much data can be entered into the system. Okay. So we have different kinds of testing as far as the data is concerned. So types of testing for the data. Okay. So we have valid. Okay. Invalid. Data that is accepted and data that is not accepted. Then we have extreme. Extreme basically means that if you have a value, let's say between 1 and 10, so 1 is the lower extreme limit and 10 is the upper extreme limit, right? So, and obviously if I enter ABC, that's abnormal. And if I enter 5, that's normal. So you have to write normal data, abnormal data. It's a part जो spreadsheets और access दोनों में आ सकता है. और मैंने आपको probably बताया होगा, आपको एक टेबल बनाना पड़ेगा वर्ड में, and you have to write data chosen, type of testing, data accepted, yes or no, or screenshot that it's accepted. So if you've applied validation rule, you will enter some certain data और आप उनको बताओगे कि वो accept हो रहा है या नहीं accept हो रहा. Okay. So these are some work examples. You can just go through it. Then we have is very interesting. We have alpha testing and we have beta testing. Alpha testing basically is carried out by the developers. But this basically alpha testing that is done, it is basically done within the software house. Okay, it takes place to the end of the development stage when the applications is nearly ready for the user. Ready for the user. Alpha testing can take a lot of time, obviously, because we have to keep on finding the errors, we have to keep on removing them. Okay, so we keep on repeating these unless and until there aren't no much errors. Okay, so but it's done by the developers. That's the important thing. As far as beta testing is concerned, beta testing is done by the real customers, as you can see, the real customers. So real customers हम देते हैं और आपने सुना होगा beta version आ गया इसका, which means the version is released, but there are chances of errors coming in. So there could be bugs, and the beta version needs to have the bugs removed before the final version is released, because the final version will not have any bugs. Okay, it's not definite that final version will never have any bugs. Final version can also have some hardware related issues or any bug, but mostly they don't have it. Then we have is black box and white box testing. Black box testing basically is what and what is white box. Dono very important hai. So as far as your white box testing is concerned, white box testing is a testing which is done by the software developers who have actually coded the program. So if you are someone who has actually coded the program, who have made the program, if you test it, it is known as a white box testing. Don't confuse white box with alpha. Alpha is a different thing. Alpha means that the developers or a specialized team test it before we release it. White box basically means we categorize it that who will be testing. If the developer tests, we call it white box. If someone else tests it, we call it black box. So there will be no knowledge of the programming of the way the system basically works. And it's important because at times I want to test the system in such a way that I don't want the person who developed it to test it, because if I have developed, I might ignore some very important things. I might be overconfident. I might think, I might not look at all the scenarios. Okay, but someone who is not used to the system might test it in a very different way. So हमने दोनों तरीकों से test करना होता है. So black box and white box testing has to be used. इसके साथ साथ आप ये मेरे नोट्स से भी कर लेना। मैंने मैंने आई डिड शेयर इट इन द ग्रुप एज वेल। ओके, मैंने शेयर किया कि नहीं किए, आई डोंट नो। अच्छा, मैं शेयर कर दूंगा, ठीक है। आई शेयर दिस एज वेल, यू कैन इवन रिवाइज दिस फ्रॉम हेयर, बट आई डिडंट वांट टू डू इट फ्रॉम हेयर बिकॉज मैं बुक से ही कराना चाह रहा हूँ। आप प्लीज नोट से भी देख लेना, बुक से भी देख लेना। ओके, द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ टेस्टिंग एंड हैविंग अ टेस्ट प्लान। वेल ऑब्वियसली there is a lot of importance of testing, and there's a lot of importance of having a test plan. Let's think, if I have a test plan, इसका फायदा क्या होगा? अगर मेरे पास एक टेस्ट प्लान है, and every time I want to test a system, I will give it to my testers and tell them, you know what, this is the list that I want you to test. I want you to test the following things. So what I can do is, if I have 10 different categories of softwares, मैं उन 10 categories का I can make a different test plan and I can give it to them. So every time I need something, some software to be tested, a new coming in, I can give it to my testers, people, and they will follow the exact criteria because test plans have been made in a very professional way. उसमें proper pathways होते हैं, उसमें proper error mention होते हैं, कौन कौन से detect होने चाहिए, what's expected and all that. So a test plan obviously is very important. Okay, it's a training tool for the new people who join in, so that we don't miss out anything, so that we increase the efficiency of the testing. So yeah, test plans are there, and they're very very important. Okay, so what we have over here is, वही जो मैं पहले आपको बात explain कर रहा था कि MS Word में you will have this. So you will have this number. You will number the test, test the input of join date. So this is on the field we are applying the test plan. Type of testing, we are going to have normal, okay, extreme, invalid. Okay, so I'll enter something which is acceptable. I'll enter something which is in extreme but acceptable. I'll enter something which is in lower but acceptable. Okay, it might give an error message because we need fail भी दे सकते, pass भी दे सकते, मगर so we'll enter different messages and we'll tell them what to do. different होंगे. ओके, वैसे एक्सट्रीम दोनों आर एक्सेप्टेबल, ये करने की जरूरत नहीं है, फेल्ड नहीं होता. ओके, बिकॉज इफ इट्स एक्सेप्टेड, ओके, तो एरर नहीं आएगा, नहीं एरर क्यों किया होगा. सो देन आपके टेस्ट प्लान्स वही दोबारा एक्सप्लेन किया हुआ है. डिस्क्रिप्शन की टाइप क्या होगी, इनपुट क्या होगा, एक्सपेक्टेड रिजल्ट क्या होगा, पास क्या होगा, उन्होंने बताया हुआ है. ओके, when you will do some papers of idea होगा, ये आता है. Then you have is links और buttons की testing. और links button में तो टेस्ट करने हैं. मेन मेन्यू के बटन आर दे वर्किंग और नॉट, क्लिक करते हो तो क्या होता है, does it actually work, and has it passed or failed. ठीक है. Implementation, that is the most important. Implementation क्या है? Implementation means installation. You have actually developed the system, now you want to install it. मगर इस इंस्टॉलेशन के भी डिफरेंट तरीके हैं. We have parallel, we have phased, we have pilot. Okay, we have direct, इसको plunge भी कहते हैं. So let's discuss first of all is direct. So direct entry is when when a date is chosen for the old system to stop running and the new one to start. Okay, so basically what happened, you have a system running. In fact, let me explain it in Paint. So I'll talk about direct first. So in case of direct, that's your old system and that's your new system. A particular day came in, let's say the 1st of December. 1st of December, we will get rid of the old system and we will implement the new system. So when this particular date comes in, हम इसको use नहीं करेंगे, इसको हम use करेंगे. The advantage of using direct system installation or direct implementation is that this entire thing, okay, will not take much time. And we always go for direct when we have limited time and we want the new system to be implemented very soon. That's the first advantage. Second direct का ये फायदा होता है कि Obviously cost कम होती है because of that reason. And इसका जो नुकसान होगा वही होगा कि since you have developed the system really fast, you do not have enough time to test it very thoroughly. And if there is any error or the system doesn't work, you don't have the old system. आप attendance ले रहे हो manually, but आपने biometric you made it. But what happens after the third day, the biometric doesn't work. Now you're not taking the attendance manually. This means you will not have a backup. You will not have a system, an alternate way to record your data. So yes, there are advantages, but this is a disadvantage of your direct implementation. Then you have is the phased. Phased basically means, in fact, let me make a new one. So you will have different phases. So here you go. Okay, phases का मतलब ये है कि हम अपने system को cut down कर देंगे into different parts. And I can, in every way I can have the inventory control system, part one, okay, and to be replaced by inventory control system, inventory control system, part one, इसमें razor कहाँ होता है? Okay, part one. Now, then I could have is the, okay, this is manual and this is computerized or whatever, the old or the new. Then I can have two, the second part replaced with the second part, third replaced with the third part, so on and so. There are obviously ways that we can cut down our system into different parts. Maybe want the attendance system first, then I want the inventory, then I want the stock. Okay, so I can prioritize my preferences, or maybe I can prioritize my features or whatever. So phased का मतलब ये है कि you want to install your system in phases. Phase 1 installed first, phase 2 installed then, and then phase 3 installed. Now overall you might see something. This entire thing is taking a lot of time. When it takes a lot of time, so it's obviously expensive. So this will be expensive. Then there are more advantages to it because I can prioritize my preferences. That's the first advantage. I can prioritize. I want what first I know. And since I'm prioritizing my preferences, सबसे बड़ा advantage जो हो रहा है इसका वो ये है कि my users can get the time to learn it. They can learn it. Okay, ये advantage इसका. बाकी time ज़्यादा लगेगा, expensive हो जाएगा, बस ये disadvantage. Then we have is, in fact, I should have discussed this with Direct. इसको कहते हैं pilot. And I'm pretty sure you might have heard the word pilot. Pilot means it's somehow like direct, but what happens is that the new system that you're installing, wo old ke saath. So that's the old and that's the new. So we will partially test it before we fully implement it. Full implementation se pehle, we will test it. Matlab, if I have 10 branches, usme se one branch mein I'll full install it. And I will check if it works properly or not. If it does, then I will implement the new system. So pilot is better than direct because at least partial ye has been tested. Magar this will incur some cost. This will incur some time. Plus we disadvantage it. Whereas it's better than direct. Okay, I hope it's clear. This is your pilot running. Okay. By the way, book में बहुत अच्छा table है. वो मैं आपको दिखा देता हूँ. और फिर रह गया हमारा last, which is one of the best, which is known as parallel. Parallel means old and new saath saath chale. But this is expensive. Okay, it requires more effort to maintain. So it's one of the best way if you can afford. Okay, so आपको manually भी या पुराना system भी run करना पड़ेगा, new system भी, unless until the new system doesn't have any problem. So you'll keep on running both systems for a while, as long as this new system doesn't give you any problem. Like I was saying, so ये आपके हो गए direct, phased and all that. Like I was saying कि इसकी book में बहुत अच्छे बताए हुए हैं. Okay, they're good points. Okay, I would like you to go through it. Okay, You will go through it and you will ask me if there are any problems in the next class. ये अच्छे points हैं. Documentation are two kinds. There's technical documentation and there's user documentation. Okay, इन्होंने direct start कर लिया technical के साथ. Technical basically obviously is made for the people who are developing the system. Technical obviously any developer who joins in wants to know how the system works. उसमें data dictionary होगी, उसमें flow charts होंगे, उसमें coding होगी, coding explanation होगी. So every explanation of how the system works, okay, from a professional point of view, from a technical point of view, all that elaboration, the relationships, screenshots, flow charts, okay, ये सारा होगा technical documentation में. Then you have user. User is आपका user guide, FAQs, video tutorials, screenshots, hardware requirement, software requirement. ये सारे होते हैं users के लिए, how to basically use the system. Okay. Okay. आजकल user documentation usually आपने note किया होगा is done with the help of QR as well. आप QR को scan करते हो, it takes you to a page that how to use it. Okay. So ये examples दी हुई हैं बस उसके. Okay. So why technical? Obviously, technical and user are important because of technical तो चाहिए हमें future maintenance के लिए, okay, configuration के लिए, okay, and user we need it obviously for knowing how the system works, for troubleshooting it, okay, that's why we need it. What is evaluation? Evaluation आपको समझ आ जाएगी क्योंकि initially when we started this chapter, we talked about our analysis. And in analysis, what we talked about was objectives. Okay? और objectives में क्या था? Objectives में हमने list down किया था कि what needs to be done. What do we have to do for the system? When the next system should do this, the new system should do this. So they were objectives. अब हम इसको evaluate करने लगे. We have to see that have the objectives been fulfilled. A system meets the user requirements. Whatever they wanted, is it done? Okay, it's living up to the expectations of. So we can observe. Okay, and we can give questionnaires. We can do this again to basically do our evaluation because we want to see whatever we did, is it what we wanted to do and what the customer wanted. ठीक है. इसके बाद आता है आपका maintenance. Maintenance basically means obviously अपने system बना के दे देना, you have to keep on maintaining it for the client, which means we have to do is perfective maintenance. We will keep on adding some additional tasks to it. Okay, there may be many ideas to make the system better. Okay, right? So we will keep on trying to make it as perfect as possible if it's possible to do it, to improve the efficiency of it. Okay, to make sure that it's up to date. So that this is perfective. Adaptive maintenance means it has to adapt according to the environment, technology, operating system, web browser. So for example, adaptive maintenance means if your system uses browsers to do something, the system has to be developed in such a way कि जो भी browser नहीं आएगा उसको adapt कर ले. ऐसा ना हो कि your system does not work on the upcoming browsers, तो फिर आप क्या करोगे? System दोबारा बनाओगे. So it has to have facilities that can be changed if they have to be changed. इसका मतलब the adaptive maintenance. Okay, it should work with different operating systems. It should adapt them. Okay, then you have is preventive. Preventive obviously means is that we have to take care that your system that you're developing. अब पूरे system की बात है, preventive का मतलब होता है obviously we have to take care of the hardware, okay, as well. So इसमें heat की बात कर लेते हैं, hardware की बात कर लेते हैं, ये different चीजें हैं. Okay, so obviously we talk about maintenance, so we have to take care of these things as well, the hardware and the software. So this is what they mean. so that we take care that the memory, the storage, the processor, everything is taken care of, so that system keeps on working. Corrective means if there are any bugs that comes in, any errors that comes in the actual running, so that the overall uh, productivity efficiency is not undermined. For that, we have to make sure as soon as possible we can remove these errors. Okay, so this is the maintenance that we have. Okay, so maintenance activities आपके ये right वैसे relate किया हुआ है. So the maintenance team can be formed using one of the three different approaches: a separate development team and maintenance. Combined approach combine कर सकते हैं members को, and functional approach का बस मतलब है कि both system personnels are assigned to functional areas with, so whoever will be responsible for what particular area उसको वहाँ assign कर दिया जाएगा. Then we're talking about is SDLC, yes. Short term life cycle में वही चीज repeat की है. Just let me 1 second. Actually, what they're referring to over here is that we have to see that in case of implementation, deciding whether the whole system needs to be re-engineered, दोबारा develop नहीं करना पड़ेगा. Okay, performing reverse engineering to obtain specific existing software. Okay, maybe at times we need to obtain some specification. उसके लिए ये live is coming very early. Okay, okay. So performance reverse engineering to obtain specification of existing software. So we might have to roll back to get some data out. Okay, reconstructing the program if needed. I mean, there might be some big errors, so we have to do that. Reconstructing of data if required, and forward to get a re-engineered software through software engineering methods. At times, we have to actually get the data back through forward or reverse engineering. Okay, so इसमें और important point है delivery maintenance. No, prototyping क्या होती है? You know the word prototyping is. Prototype आप खुद ही कहते हो जब गाड़ी को नया प्रोटोटाइप आया या फोन का प्रोटोटाइप आया, it means actually it's not the actual thing, it's just there for you could say testing. So whenever there are prototypes, there are actually different kinds of prototypes methods for implementation. Incremental prototyping का मतलब ये है कि initial requirements user से लो and initial prototype develop कर दो आप. Okay, you can take a feedback, refine the requirements and refine the procedure. So you can take a feedback from the user in order to refine it. Okay, this is known as your incremental prototyping, right? Then you have is your evolutionary prototyping. It's similar to the your incremental prototyping in what it reiterates. However, unlike in prototyping, there is no requirement specification at the start of the project. Okay, so there are no requirements. Okay, initial requirements nahi hoti in case of evolutionary. Okay, the developer will start working on some of the best ideas and obviously वो उसको साथ साथ खुद ही develop करेंगे. Okay, evolutionary basically works in the same way जो आपका इस तरह waterfall काम करता है. evolution मतलब एक part हुआ, उसके बाद फिर दूसरा part develop हुआ, फिर तीसरा हुआ, फिर चौथा हुआ. So evolution, it will keep on evolving itself. Okay, this is another way. Throwaway rapid होता है usually आपके whenever you have to make the system really fast. आपका टाइम कम है, आपने जल्दी बनाना है, आपने as soon as possible feedback लेना यूजर से और आपने जल्दी से बना कर देना क्योंकि यूजर को जल्दी चाहिए. तो आप नोट करोगे आपके इंक्रीमेंटल और इसमें थ्रो में फर्क ये है कि आपने रिक्वायरमेंट्स ली, रैपिड प्रोटोटाइप किया, क्लाइंट फीडबैक बस एक बार लिया, यू डोंट कीप ऑन गोइंग बैक लाइक ओवर हियर एंड यू विल डेवलप इट बिकॉज यू डोंट हैव टाइम. आपने थ्रो अवे करना है, आपने जल्दी करना है, कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव होगा, टाइम कम लगेगा. ठीक है, ऑब्वियसली यूजर की यही this is what user wants. Okay, the advantage and disadvantage of prototyping. Well, problems can be identified. Okay, Disadvantage, requirements can be rushed. जल्दी जल्दी करेंगे, काम खराब भी हो सकता है. ओके, जेनेरिक बात कर रहे हैं, जेनेरिक बात कर रहे हैं. ओके, किसी भी प्रोटोटाइप की बात हो सकती है ये. ओके, रिमेंबर दिस कुड बी एनी ऑफ दैम. इट कुड बी इटरेटिव, इट कुड बी थ्रो अवे. उसकी बात हो रही है. Requirements can be clarified and refined. Okay, I mean obviously they can be clarified and refined. Okay, so advantage ये है कि आप बार बार पूछ सकते हो and you can keep on refining it. बिल्कुल advantage है. With rapid prototype, the prototype can become rushed, and when trying to develop it into a workable system, it may have significant design flaws. Mostly related to the first thing, point. बात वही है. अब जल्दी करेंगे तो they will have design flaws, structure flaws, programming flaws, and solution may not be what we want. The end user will be involved. तो obviously जो ownership होगी, जो user चाहता था वो बन गया. Okay. Disadvantage, when users sees the prototype, they can often get lots of new ideas about features. This is basically disappointment हो जाएगी. ये होता है. This is known as a feature creep. So अगर आप let's say if I show you very good amazing software, you'll say, wow, what nice software. If I show it to you today, if I show you tomorrow, and if I show you and if you keep on using the software for a month, and you will not be surprised, and you will have more expectations. Okay, इसमें तो ये भी होना चाहिए, इसमें तो this will delay it. It will give disappointment. You get my point. ये issue आता है, इसको feature creep का. So when you involve the user for a long time, it results in feature creep. If the prototype is evolutionary, then user can get used to. So they can get used to it. Okay, and it's much cheaper to make changes earlier. ये big advantage है. The user sees what looks like working interface with the prototype. They don't realize how much effort. So yes, ये बड़ा problem है. वो output देख रहे हैं, वो ये नहीं देख रहे कि how much programming effort has been put in. So that's the disadvantage. The